Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 meeting of the Town of Cumberland Planning Board. One member, George Turner, can't be with us tonight. The other 6 members are here and ready to go. So the first item is the approval of the meeting minutes from the August 15th, 2023 meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any other additions or corrections? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. No site plan approvals, staff site plan approvals. We have one minor change approval, a field change approval for Snowy Owl Estate subdivision located at Old Gray Road, tax assessor map U21, lot 5E. Carla?
This is was a minor.
Could you, the microphone? Yeah.
No.
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 Is it on?
Here, take mine. That's as far as it goes. There, how's that?
There.
Okay. Well, similar to what's happened with the school project, the grading plan for this condominium project on Old Gray Road was not accurate once they became in the field and were digging and piling up materials. And what they ended up having to do was build a retaining wall, a small one, stone on one side of the project. It's probably about maybe 30 feet in length, 6 feet high. So our town engineer went out and inspected it, made sure it worked, was okay, and I approved that as a minor change. So that's what that one is about, and it's kind of interesting that we're going right from that project to now this
Do
one.
you have any update? I know one of our conditions of approval was that we needed more study done on the
Yes.
water there. Can
Yep.
you update us on that?
Yeah, the project, they started out gangbusters with clearing and grubbing, and then it came to a screeching halt, and they were working on several other projects they have going in the Portland area. They started back a couple of weeks ago, and now I understand from Bill Longley they've stopped again. As it gets further along, that is when they will drill the well, the tests, and give us the information on what they're finding. So we haven't forgotten about it, just they aren't there yet.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? None further, then we'll go into our hearings and presentations, and we just have one tonight. And it's a public hearing, and it's a site plan review amendment for the MSAD 51 Mabel I. Wilson Elementary School campus located at 353 Tuttle Road, is shown on tax assessor map U11 lot 9 for revisions to the modular classroom addition previously approved. The applicant owner is Maine School Administrative District 51, and the representative is Patrick Carroll of Carroll Associates. Carla, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. Patrick is not able to be here tonight, so he has sent 2 people from his firm instead to talk about the technical issues, and Scott Poulin is also here to answer any non-technical, why did this happen, oh my, issues. And I've also invited Jeff Reed, the town engineer, to be here for you if you have other questions that you'd like him to respond to.
Okay, well, why don't we begin, representatives from the SAD? Please identify yourselves.
Good evening. My name's Scott Poulin. I'm the Director of Finance, HR, and Operations for MSAD 51. And we're before you this evening because we are looking for an application to basically amend an approved site plan. And the amendment application details revisions that we had to do this summer during a 7-week time frame that were not part of our initial application. And the changes were made, as Carla had mentioned, were due to site conditions once the construction started. Due to the timing of this, we have, as I mentioned, 22 modular rooms that are outside of Mabel I. Wilson School, which would house 400 students and about 25 staff members. There was, due to the timing of the construction, we did not have the time frame in which to come back before the planning board, as we had 7 weeks to complete that, with about 2 weeks prior to the start of school. There was also a playground that was built, and so we were not in a position to be able to start work. So we made the decision to continue to move forward and come to the planning board with an amended site plan. And so that's where we ended up on that. And I have this evening, to answer any detailed questions, we have Matt Phillips from Carroll Associates joining us tonight, and then Andy Johnson from ARC also. So that's where we're at this evening.
Okay, Matt, do you want to make a presentation on that, please?
Good evening, Matt Phillips, Carroll Associates, landscape architect. And tonight we're going to present to you just basically in a nutshell, what the changes in the field that were made were and how it differs from the previous iteration that you approved back in April. And these changes, as Scott indicated, were sort of decisions that were made in the field based on basically discovered conditions, or just, you know, what was actually in the field versus some of the survey data that we had, which was, as it turns out, a little out of date. It was a sort of a cobbled survey from numerous iterations of these modulars being relocated and constructed over the last few years. So it was a little off in that sense. And the builders of this and the site contractors made it work and fit the site well. So the first and sort of the biggest change or item is that the 10-unit classroom that was existing, that was relocated to this location, and then the addition of the 12-unit here, both of these have their finished floor, the elevations of them have been adjusted to fit the site better from what was previously designed. In the previous iteration, they were higher, so they sort of they related more to the road into the drive as opposed to the actual site and the rest of the campus here. And so these buildings were lowered. This one in particular was lowered to fit the site better. So it's just a bit down from the road, and as a result, they had to build a retaining wall, small retaining wall, you can see in this line here, and that helps it fit the site better. And at the 12 unit, there's another wall here that was built, and it wraps around the building. And this allows the buildings to fit the site better, so they're not so high above the existing grade. And a result of the finished floors being lowered, they needed the walls to help retain the grades above them. What it also did is it allowed the entry points where the stairs and the ramps are to be reconfigured to be less steep or less number of risers to the stairs because the buildings are lower. There's also a couple minor asphalt reconfigurations. The area between the two buildings, this triangle, this was all paved in an effort to help maintain runoff to existing catch basins, in an effort to also make it easier to maintain. And then this walkway here was widened as well for access to the playground and to the pavilion. The pavilion was shifted plan east, which is sort of in the southeast direction. It was shifted so it was closer to the relocated playground area, so it relates better to that. There's been a couple additional gates that have been added to the fence line. One is here, and then the other is here out of the playground, and both enter out into a sidewalk or to the crosswalk, which is adjacent to the parking areas. The fence line in some areas has been slightly relocated, or the configuration has been adjusted to better field fit the conditions that you see in front of you. I think just the last few things, the pre-K play area, which is in this nook here, has been expanded slightly to encompass this whole area. And then the last item was some of the utilities had to be reconfigured to fit different elevations of the buildings or actual field locations. So some of the utilities have been modified in the sense that their locations or their elevations have been adjusted, but all of them work and are in and functioning. So we're hoping that none of these changes are too outlandish or too far from the approved plan. And as far as I know, a new survey is going to be commissioned for this whole area, so we will have current survey data for this design, and any amendments coming forth in the future will have fully accurate, up-to-date information for everybody to use. So that's, in a nutshell, what the summary of the site plan changes were. If you guys have any questions about that, or utilities, or stormwater, or anything else, we are open to have those addressed.
Questions from the board?
Peter,
Paul.
just for clarification, somewhere, I don't know if it was at the beginning or on page 42, there was a mention of a concession and of a shaded area. Is that, where, is that on there, or did I
No,
miss it?
The concession building was part of the approval back in April, and that is located at the middle school site. And that hasn't been built yet, so that is not part of this this amendment. This amendment is basically just the changes that occurred at Mabel Wilson. The stuff at the middle school is, I believe, planned to be built next year, so none of those were part of this
Okay.
this amendment.
All right, thank you.
Other questions? Talking about concessions, didn't they build so this snack shack and the bathrooms and all that stuff that was added to the athletic field, that wasn't the concession portion of this plan?
Well, I guess I'll defer to Scott on this one, because I'm a little confused then about that one.
I can answer that. So there's a concession stand that was built by the field house, which sits between the two athletic fields. And we'd already previously done bathrooms in that location for the public to be able to use and the students to be able to use, but there is a snack shack that's built next to that, so.
Did that go through the town, Carla?
I believe
I
so.
believe
It
we
was-
did.
I remember it.
Yeah,
on
we
the
put that
approval.
forth, I think, back in April.
It was bundled.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did put that in. And then the other revisions, which you were mentioning earlier, are the modulars that we're looking at doing at the middle school this coming summer.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board? Hearing none, I will open the public hearing at this point, and anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter, please come to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill Shane, Town Manager. I did want to share with the board as well that these changes were pretty imminent as soon as the contractors arrived on the site. Rick Story called Bill Longley and myself up to come to the site to look at it, and we all agreed, and we powwowed with Carla, that because of the time window, we had to continue, and his plan as proposed with the retaining walls and leveling the pads and lowering the site really made a lot of sense. I think it made for a much better project. We were fortunate to have a contractor like Story Brothers, Rick and Timothy Story, both spent countless hours of time redesigning, regrading, and making the drainage, especially on this site, work as well as it is currently. So we weren't surprised as soon as the grade bust came up. We found that there was some error in the plans on what was proposed to what was actually there. It was definitely corroborated by myself and Bill Longley. And would like to put out a special thanks to Story Brothers for making it possible that, you know, the second and third grade were able to start on day one, because if not, it was a very, very tight time window. But I'd also like to thank the school staff at all the schools that all pitched in and put the playground together, because that wasn't contracted out. They had a lot of all hands on deck days, and they were there on weekends, late nights, and they continued to work to get this ready for the kids to get back to school. It wasn't all ready when the first day of school opened, but they certainly had a much larger and a better play area, and the pavilion that was installed with this was pretty special as well. So big shaded area. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to get up there and look at it, because it was a job well done, and I think we should be proud as a town of what was built there. It certainly was surprising, and if you see how large these buildings are, it's very impressive. So I just want to share with the board that they weren't the Lone Ranger out there. They had a lot of accomplices, and we'll take the slapping as well if we have to. But for us, I think there wasn't much of a choice. We needed the school to open on day one, and we were able to get the job done with the cooperation of Scott and his team, and the architect as well.
Well, as a parent of a second grader, I appreciate it as well.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and go back to the board. We have got 3 waivers. We've got one for stormwater management. We have another one for erosion control, and, well, 4. And we have one for water, sewer, and fire protection, and one for buffering and landscaping. So how do we want to handle this, Josh?
Carla, weren't these approved?
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't new waivers.
They are not new waivers, nope. So what I did.
They were
with-
approved
Yeah, with this
with the
evaluation.
original site plan, so.
With this review, basically, if you scroll down, you'll see a bright yellow formatting under the site plan review section, and it reads that the following are the findings of fact from the original approval granted on April 25th, 2023. The only finding that has changed is related to stormwater management. So, yes, the waivers were approved previously. I kept the exact same document in place so that we were able to go back and see what was approved. And
So I guess my thing there is, does the board want to go through the entire reading of the findings of fact, or just the element of the stormwater?
I will make a motion that we waive the reading of the findings of fact with the entry of the stormwater management narrative that was submitted in the packet into the public record.
Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So we've got that. Do we have any conditions of approval? Any additional ones from the original plan, Carla?
no,
Then I guess we'll,
I will make a motion that we approve the site plan review amendment for the MSAD 51 Mabel I. Wilson Elementary School campus located at 353 Tuttle Road as shown on tax assessor map U11 Lot 9 for the revisions to the modular classroom addition previously approved.
hear a second?
A second.
Discussion? I guess that, first of all, yes, basically a new school was built in 7 weeks, and, everything, technicalities had to be put aside, because like everything else, the project is more important than maybe some regulations. But that being said, this marks the 3rd time that the school district has had to come back on re-requests or other errors. And I could admit that I was involved in the first one back in the 90s when we put 2 portable classrooms on the Wilson School without telling the without telling the plan, and I came as chairman, hat in hand. I think Bob Vale may have been chairman of the planning board at that time, and raised my hands and said no mas. But on a regular project, something like this, we would have temporarily shut it down. It's just as far as regular town procedure. And Scott has, as the commander, has taken responsibility of this as a good commander does. But I am just surprised that there was not more work and study on these engineering plans, and also the project manager over there has worked on enough plans over the years to kind of smell a rat when he sees it. So I just think the perception out there that we treat a school or a town thing on a different set of standards than we do the regular public, that, you know, it does need to be noted, but again, the project is more important than the personality, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we ready for a vote? All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations and thank you. Any other business? Not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming.